Okay, everyone. So this is my demo. I've already drawn it and transferred it over to my new paper and started indicating some of my values. A couple of things that I wanted to make sure that I did was that I made my drawing dark enough to when I do the tonal value on the background with the cotton ball, that I'd be able to see it. Okay, so I've also decided I want to put a nice little circle in here. So I'm going to use the one that I've already cut, and I'm going to place it kind of where I want it. I think that's a good spot. Now, one thing to keep in mind when I do this, I already know that I'm going to be also going over the octopus tentacles um, with the value, and then I'm going to be drawing over it, and I'm going to blend it in and smooth it out. And I also want to make sure that I don't go too dark next to any of these because I want to be able to have that contrast. So I'll focus my darker areas in places where I don't need a lot of contrast, where I'm not going to have a lot of illustration, and then I'll figure out, what kind of things I want to do with the erasing. So I've made my mask. This is one I used previously in the demo that I did. And I'm just going to come and I've already did my shavings. And I tested this out on a separate piece of paper because I don't want to go too dark. I want to keep this like a nice consistent gray. And I'm just going to work it in here. Now what I will have to do, and I'll probably take like an edge of the cotton ball. When I lift the mask up, I will have to go into the areas that I did not get, that I had blocked off as far as the technical areas are concerned. So this is it. Nice, easy approach. I'm not trying to put dark values down. Another thing I could have done is I could have put a nice border to make this clean, but I might frame this afterwards, so I'm not really too concerned about a border. Otherwise, usually I put something down like tape, just make a nice little border. But I just wanted to do a demo on an actual illustration. So what I do is I come over to this other paper where I kind of have like some of these shavings down, and I just kind of reload. And I know part of my figure is going to be black, right? It's going to have some really dark values. One thing to keep in mind is you're going to want to clean your surface. Normally, what I normally would do, and I should have thought about it already, so I normally put something down underneath so I don't make a mess on my table. But it's too late for that, so I just have to be careful not to make a mess. I think what I will do is I will put some paper down when I add my darker values, though, so I can keep that clean. So I'm just going to grab some random scrap paper that I have, and I want to come in and I want to add some darker values. So I'm going to take a little bit more shavings. I'm going to rub them down on my other piece of paper, and then I'm going to come in here and add these darker values in. And when I lift this up, you'll see what happens to that, paper that's underneath it. You want to try to avoid getting your surface all dirty. So again, these areas I'm going to make darker. I don't know how dark I want to make them yet, but once you start doing this, then you're really going to have to make sure that you have paper underneath your hand to protect your hand, so you don't smudge and blur things in areas where you don't want it to be. Like, you don't want to take your hand and put it through here. So once this is done and I'm committed, which I am now, from this point on, I want to make sure that when I draw, that I have a piece of paper underneath my hand to protect the surface. Excuse me. And again, I'm just taking more shavings and I'm just reloading. And I'm being very conscious of where I'm putting my darker values at. You can see how fast this is. And this is why you want to have something underneath your table, because you can make it quite messy. So I'll leave it pretty much here. I'll come in and add a little bit of values where I think I need some more. Okay, I don't really care if I get it in the figure, because eventually this is all going to, you know, have some kind of a grayscale value. So I'm not too happy with this area right here. So I'm just going to come in, I'm going to add some more. Bringing that darker value. Now this might become darker later. I will adjust as I move on with the illustration. This is definitely going to get darker in here. Alright, so I think I'm happy with that. And I'm going to stop with the recording. So, again, there's areas that I'm probably going to make darker, like in the corner here, in this corner, probably on this edge, and in here. But I'm going to wait until I start putting in some of my other values. And then when I lift this off, you'll see, you know, you got that nice little glow going. But you can see what I'm talking about in the tentacles. So see how they don't have any value in there. So what I'll do is I will take my Q-tip, or better yet, not a Q-tip. I'll take my tissue paper and I'll make it into the shape that I want. And I'll come in and I'll just bring some of this value in. I think that'll work better than a Q-tip will. Alright, so this is where I'm going to end it. I'm going to continue working on it. I'll show you the progress so you guys can start seeing the difference in the values and how it changes. One thing to keep in mind now that I move forward, no matter what I do, I should always have some kind of paper underneath my hand so I don't make a mess. I'm going to wash my fingers because I got a mess. And then I also want to make sure that I don't have anything on my surface so I can keep everything nice and clean. But again, this is the progress I'm making, so I'll keep you updated. And I'm going to probably work on a little bit more after this video. But I'm going to be working on like the details and adding value. And then I'll make another update video for this. So again, this is how we attack our project. We talked about it in phases. So the drawing technically was phase 1. Putting in these values are phase 2. And then I'm going to be layering now. So I will chat with you guys later. Have a good night. Or this is nighttime. Have a good day.